WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, so last week, Simran Kaur took us through Bodhi number 6, and we looked at things such as true purity and true pilgrimage. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji talks about these tirths, so these places of pilgrimage. There were 68 of them. So people would go and bathe at these pilgrimage places, thinking that just merely by bathing, that they'd be washing away their internal as well. But we found out that that wasn't the case, that the true pilgrimage is actually Nam, what Maharaj has blessed us with. We looked at how Guruji has the power to change our karmas, and also this bribe of jewels that the Sidhs gave to Guru Nanak Dev Ji to tempt Maharaj to join them. So they tempted Maharaj with all these jewels, and Guruji spoke about the real jewels of life being the jewels of Gyan, right? These spiritual jewels. And then finally we looked at the true giver, Sabana Jiya Ka Ekadata, So Mein Visna Jai, that there is only one giver, So Mein Visna Jai, so we can never forget them. So we're going to kick off this week by continuing this conversation between Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the Sidhs. And remember that the Sidhs are trying to get Guru Nanak Dev Ji to be one of them. So they realize at this point, the Sidhs realize that they've tried so much, they've tried everything to convince Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and they get together and they think between themselves. They think now, how can we convince? What's the surefire way? What's this deal we can put before Maharaj that they cannot say no to? And they thought between themselves that, everyone wants to live longer. Everyone wants a nice long life. So they came to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj and they said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, if you join us, if you become one of us, we'll bless you with a life as long as all 4 ages. So if anyone's unaware, the 4 ages of our creation are Satyajug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kaljug, which is what we're in now. Now these ages are like in the hundreds of thousands of years long in their duration. So you're talking about altogether like over 1 million years, easy. So they came to Guru Nanak Dev Ji and they say, look, we'll bless you with an age that you'll be alive for all 4 ages, and we'll make sure that you're famous. We'll make sure everyone knows you, and we'll make sure that you've got loads of disciples, that everyone's following you. That's what we're going to give to you, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. You just join us. You just become a Sidh. Guru Nanak Dev Ji start off their response by saying, Je Joga Chare Arja. They say, if ages 4 extend, which means that if I extended my life to 4 ages, these 4 ages you're trying to tempt me with, if I did that, even if I'd done more than that, the Sunni, tenfold. So forget 4 ages, even if I lived for 40, the Sunni hoy, that's how they start their response. Right? And we're going to pause here for a second, and we're going to go into a little Sikhi about someone who did live for a very, very long time. So we're going to go to the time of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. And Guruji fought in a battle called the Battle of Muktsar. And this is the battle where the Jali Mukte actually came back. They redeemed themselves at this battle. So the Jali Mukte are those Sikhs who left Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji initially, and then they decided to come back. So Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, they win this battle, and then they rest their army at a pool of water. And what was interesting about this particular pool of water is that in this area lived a very old person. Because they were so old, they had a lot of followers, right? They were so old. And when Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji rested at this lake, the disciples of this old man, they say to them, they say, what do you think of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji? Are you going to go visit them? And this old man said, you know what? Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, they're quite young yet. And that means that they probably haven't learned to control their body. And if they haven't learned how to control their body, then they're not going to be at peace. And I only want peace. Therefore, there's no point in me meeting Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, right? They said all of these things. Now, on the other side, you've got Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji with their Sikhs. And their Sikhs are saying, Maharaj, there's a really old man, he's really famous, lives in this area. Like, what's their story? Tell us. And Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji says, this man has worked out how to breathe in a way that's extended his whole life. right? Then Guru Gobind Singh Ji then gives the age of this man, and you wouldn't believe it. Does anyone want to have a guess as to how old this man was? Are we talking hundreds of years, thousands of years? What do we think? Any guesses? Anyone want to shout out? 120? Nah, much higher than that. Much higher than that. There's a number before that. That's just how high it is. So 120 is right. The last three digits are right. And you've got a number before that 120. Hanji? No, not 1,000. Ooh, not 100,000. It's 5,000. This guy was 5,120 years old. 512. Oh, that's how old this guy was. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji said it straight. They told their age. Now, Guru Gobind Singh Ji made an interesting point. They said, this guy is 5,120 years old, but because they've lived for so long without dying, they've got a lot of pride now. They've got a lot of pride because they're so old because of their age, right? It's a bit of a funny thing. Normally we're embarrassed about being old, but this guy's got a lot of pride about living for so long. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji in their Bani in Dwat Prasad Savaya, they say, Paun ahara jati jatadar, tar, sabe subichara hajar ke dekhe. Sri Bhagavan pache bin apupata ek rati bin ek na lekhe. Meaning that Paun ahar, there's so many of these people who just live on air, right? These jatis, these people who control their body in such a way that they don't even need food anymore. They're just breathing, right? Maharaj says there's loads of them. They live for so long, but then Maharaj goes on to say there's no point. There's no point in living for that long if you don't have the Naam, the name of the one, and you don't have Kirpa. You don't have that grace. So these two things are really important. Without these two things, life is essentially useless. So now the disciples, they tell the old man about how Guru Gobind Singh Ji has described them. They say to the old man, they say, Guruji has just said that you're this many years old, 5,120, but you're very proud. That's how they describe you. And the old man thinks, wow, not only are they right about my age, but they're actually right. I do have a lot of pride. Yeah, I do have a lot of pride. They're right. So they said, they realized then that there's something about this person, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. So they made their way to Guru Gobind Singh Ji very slowly, as you can imagine. You're not very mobile at 5,000 years old. And he had a big walking stick and he's making his way very slowly. He comes into Maharaj's Hazuri, comes into the presence of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And they're so amazed. They're so amazed by Guru Gobind Singh Ji that they bow. With the utmost humility, they bow in front of Maharaj and they say, here, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, make me one of your Sikhs. Just make me one of yours, please. They put aside all that pride of how long they'd lived and they said, please, just make me one of yours. And Guruji was so happy that they blessed this old man. They blessed them to join and merge back with the one. So because they'd put away all that pride, they got that kirpa that Guru Gobind Singh Ji talks about. So when Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Jai Juga Jare Arja, if I was to live for 4 ages or 40 of those ages, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is Naam and Kirpa, this blessing of our Guru. So I'm going to open it up to you guys now. I've got a bit of a question. So what else can we be proud of? So we've just had an example, a weird example of someone who's proud about how old they are, how long they've been living without dying. But what other examples can we think of where we can be proud? Not necessarily us as individuals, but just us in general, as a society, as human beings. What do we see people being proud about? Any ideas, Hanji? Yeah, wealth. That's a really good one. How much money we have. Anything else? Yes. Success. Yes, definitely. It's an interesting one. Any others? Yes. Education. That's a funny one. That one caught me out once when I started work. I started work and I was meeting my new team and everyone was talking about what university they went to. And they went round and they're, Warwick and Cambridge, Oxford, whatever. And it came to me and I said Kingston and everyone started laughing. And I was like, what's so funny about Kingston? They're like, oh, you only went to Kingston? I was like, well, yeah, what's wrong with that? And that was the first time I experienced someone being proud of education, but it does exist. So we can be proud of all of these things. Now, I've got a personal story to share with you guys, and it's incredibly embarrassing. So we're just going to keep it between us, right? That's the deal. So when I started taking my Sikhi seriously, and I started coming to the Guru Garden on a Sunday evening, at the Q&A slot, which was this slot between 7 to 8 p.m. in this darbar upstairs, there was a very young Sukhdeep Singh sat on the mic. Not saying that he's old now, he's still very young, but there's a very young Sukhdeep Singh sat on the mic. And I had a question. My question was, where in Gurbani, within Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Naam within Guru Granth Sahib Ji, right, Gurbani, where Gurbani doesn't change, the words don't change, the words are the same, right? The words aren't being added to, they're not being taken away, the words are the same as they are. So I said, where the words are the same, does that mean that Gurbani is more like of a snapshot of the one? Because the one is unlimited. They keep on going, right? So that was my question. I genuinely didn't understand it at that time. Now, before I move on, does anyone want to have a crack at answering it? Might be quite tricky. Anyone? Any brave soul? Okay. Oh, yes, at the back. Kanji. Okay. Hanji. Okay. So that's what I thought as well. I thought Gurbani was a snapshot, but I was wrong. And I'll get into the answer in a bit. But the thing that makes this really embarrassing is, although there was nothing wrong with the question, I wasn't meaning it in a malicious way. At that time, and it shames me to say it, at that time, I asked a question and I felt so much pride. And it sounds so silly, but I felt so proud that I had this real, like, deep question. I remember looking at Sukhdeep Singh and thinking, there's no way this guy at his age is going to know the answer to this. There's no way. I thought I was, I don't know. I thought I was going to defeat Sukhdeep Singh or something like that. I don't know. So I had so much pride. And if I'm honest, I felt that by asking such a question in front of everyone, it's so embarrassing that everyone would think of me as someone clever, which doesn't even make sense because I was proud and I didn't even know the answer. So I was proud about the question. So you can get pride because you know something. I didn't know something and I was still proud, right? It's so silly. So what happened was I asked this question and I thought, wow, I've got him now, definitely. And he answered it in literally 2 seconds. It was nothing. So there's me asking this question. So I said, are the words of Gurbani, you know, they're the same. Does that mean it's a snapshot of the one? And by God bless him, he said, well, have you ever read a shabad one day and it means one thing, and then you read it the other day and it means something else? And me, in all my pride, I was like, yeah, it happens all the time. I'm like, yeah, definitely. And he said, well, there's your answer. He said, in the same way, although the words are the same, the depth to the words, that experience, that naam, that the depth of the meaning is ever flowing. It's unlimited, just like the one is unlimited. And it's interesting. It's so true. I'm thinking now, since we started this Japji sub course, we're at week 9, and in week 2, I was blessed to cover Mool Mantar, and it was the hardest talk I've ever had to prep for because it just didn't stop. We're at Bodhi number 7, and my mind still hasn't. I'm still mind blown over Mool Mantar in week number 2. I'm still there because I haven't. It's hard to draw a line under it. It just keeps on going. So anyway, there I was asking this blockbuster question, and I got a really simple answer. And at that moment, I kid you not, it felt like Maharaj had just popped this bubble of pride within me, and it really, it really made me feel silly. I felt so silly that I had come into Maharaj's Hazuri. I'd come to the Guru Ghar in front of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, and I was trying to look like someone who was clever. It just didn't make sense. And I felt so ashamed. And it might not sound that deep to you guys listening to this now, but I can assure you I felt so ashamed that for the next couple of weeks, when there was a Q&A, I just sat at the back and I didn't say a word. I was that ashamed that I came in front of my guru and I was trying to act like the big man, that I was trying to act like I knew something. So it was really a blessing. So the reason I'm sharing this is because really, when we're blessed to learn something, it really is a blessing, no matter how big or small it is. Whatever Maharaj blesses us to learn, it is a blessing. And the more we learn, the more it should humble us. So it sounds weird because normally the more we know, the more knowledgeable we are. Like Maharaj said, you can be knowledgeable about your status and what you know. Let's just say someone learned about reincarnation for the first time. They didn't know reincarnation existed. And then all of a sudden they learn from Guruji that reincarnation does exist. Well, instead of thinking, well, I know all about reincarnation now, really we should be thinking, wow, I didn't know reincarnation existed. How much must there be that I still don't know? Right? So it keeps us at that level, that really low sort of humble level. So just a very embarrassing personal story. Anyway, so we're going to move on. So we're going to carry on with the response that Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave. And they said, Nava Khanda Vich Janiye, meaning that in all the 9 regions, if I had followers from all of these 9 regions, Nal Chale Sab Koe, along to go everyone. So if I had followers from all regions of the world and they all followed me, Maharaj goes on to say, Changa Nao Rakhai Ke, Jaski Irat Jagle, meaning good name to have this, Jaski Irat Jagle, fame, glory, world, and that. Meaning that if I had a really good name, if I had this fame, this glory across the whole world, it doesn't mean anything. So one way we can look at this is to be someone who's beyond criticism. And no matter who you are, no matter what you do in this world, you're always open to criticism by someone. So an example that comes to my mind is one of my favourite footballers, Marcus Rashford. I'm a United supporter, couldn't help myself. Marcus Rashford, a couple of years ago, he campaigned against the government for free school meals for children. Okay, so it was during lockdown and children weren't getting their free school meals, and therefore that was putting pressure on parents to pay for their children's lunches and stuff, which they couldn't afford. These are real garib, real poor people, right? They couldn't afford it, so it's putting pressure on them. So Marcus Rashford campaigned against the government and he was very successful. And I thought that was quite a noble thing to do. I was like, fair play. Here you are, a millionaire footballer. You know, you've got everything, so to speak, but here you are taking time out of your own personal life and you're trying to help others. You're trying to help these children, people that you haven't even met before. And I thought that was quite noble. But I couldn't believe how much backlash he got as well. So he's trying to do something so good, but he got so much backlash. So many people said, you should just stick to football. You're a footballer, stick to that, leave politics to the politicians. And I was like, wow, look at that. Even someone trying to do good in this world, even they come under criticism. So Maharaj here is talking about Changa now. If I was that person that was beyond criticism, no one would criticize me, right? Even if I was that person. Now there's a couple of meanings to this line, which is why I haven't put the translation on there yet. So the first meaning we can take, and it goes into my earlier point about Gurbani being so deep. The first meaning we can take is if we don't get that nadar, that kirpa that we spoke about earlier, if we don't get that kirpa from our Guru, that nadar, that Guru Prasad we covered in Mool Mantar, then no one's going to ask about you. Meaning that we might have so much fame, so much respect in this world, our name might be so big, we might have so many followers, Instagram followers, etc., but it actually means nothing. That respect doesn't mean anything. It's hollow, it's false. The real respect is what happens after, how we're respected in the eyes of the One. Now, an alternate arth, an alternate meaning, is those saints see all, not have. Then no one asks about. So another meaning we can take from this is that those saints that see this world as an illusion, they see it for what it really is, false, temporary, right? Those saints, no one asks about them. No one asks about people who don't really care about the world. Why? Because they're not chasing fame. A true saint isn't chasing fame. A true saint, even if they become famous, they don't care. They don't give in to their pride. Why? Because all they care about is Nam, Gurbani, and Kirpa, that blessing. That's all they care about. And it's interesting because there's so many things that we value. We value things like status. We value things like money and wealth. But generally speaking, let's just say I wanted more wealth and I needed a promotion. Well, that generally means that I'd have to work longer. I'd have to work even harder, right? And it's funny because I know so many people who don't, quote unquote, have much in a worldly sense. And I know a lot of people who have a lot in a worldly sense, a lot of wealth. And I tell you, they're both in pain. Both groups have got big problems. Nanak dukhiya sab sansar. This whole sansar, they're all dukhiya. They're all in pain, no matter what. They're in pain because those that don't have much, the poor, we can say, quote unquote, they look at the people that have got a lot of wealth and they say, if I had a bit more, if I was maybe a millionaire, multi-millionaire like this guy, all my problems be solved. My life be easy then. And then you've got the rich people. They look at the poor people and say, I wish I have what they have. I wish I had a normal life. I wish I had a life where I could trust people without thinking that they're just after me for my money. I wish I had a life where I had time to spend with my kids, take my kids to the park. All these things we overlook, but both groups, everyone's in some sort of problem. So we've got to value Nam and Kirpa, just like the saints. So the saints are like our benchmark. That's really what we're aiming at, the way they are. If they don't care about the world, ultimately we shouldn't as well. We should live within it, but really we just need to value Nam and ask for our Guru's Kirpa, just like the old man did with Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji go on to say, Kita andar Keet kar, lowest being, assume being need, dosi dos tare. Meaning that because of our mistakes, we are accountable for the things that we do. And if we make mistakes, we're going to have to be reborn to pay off those mistakes. So a Sakhi of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, to explain this point, is when Guruji was with the Sikhs in Sangat, and Bhai Bidhi Chand Ji, a great Guru Sikh of the time of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, they come to Maharaj and they say, Maharaj, you're not going to believe this. There's a massive snake on its way coming through the whole Sangat. It's just slithering all the way through this crowd of people. They said, should we take care of it? Should we get rid of it? And Guruji says, don't get rid of it. They said, clear its way, let it come here. So let that big snake come right here. They said, the snake's coming for my blessing. They're asking me for my blessing, and I'm going to give it to them. So Bhai Bidhi Chand Ji does exactly that. Everyone steps aside, they clear the way, and this massive snake is just slithering through, all the way through. It comes to the feet of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, touches the feet of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, and dies. As it dies, the snake turns over on its back, and everyone looks at it, and it's full of maggots that are eating the flesh of this snake. Bhai Bidhi Chand Ji is looking at this, and he's so confused. He's like, how random is that? There's a snake, a massive snake coming through the Sangat. Guruji says don't get in its way. The snake comes, touches Guruji's feet, it dies on the spot, turns over, and is full of maggots. Like, what does this mean? They ask Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, they say, Maharaj, what does this mean? And as So the snake died, right? And the subtle body is now leaving the snake's body. And as that subtle body is coming out, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji asks it, it says, tell us your story now. Before you leave now, tell us your story. And the subtle body spoke, and they said, in my past life, I was pretending to be a holy man. And I had a lot of followers. And I would tell them that I could get them to the one, that I could complete this spiritual journey that they're on. He said, but what I would do is I would lie and tell them that, but I'd take all their money. Bit by bit by bit, I'd gain their trust, and I'd just be taking money bit by bit by bit. And he goes, I took their money, and then what happened was, he said, on my deathbed, as I was dying, I was thinking about wealth. I was thinking about money. Where's all my money going to go? And he said, because I was thinking about wealth at the time of my death, I was reborn now as a snake. And then the followers, he said, all these people that followed me on their deathbeds, they thought of me. Why wouldn't you, right? If they followed him for all their lives, then they're going to think of him on their deathbed. But he goes, I couldn't give them mukti. I couldn't complete this spiritual journey for them. So now I'm born this life as a snake, and now they're the maggots that are eating my body. Check this out. He said, in my last life, I was eating from them. I'd eat all their money bit by bit. I'd keep them poor and make myself rich. And he said, now in this life, now they're eating from me. They're literally eating my flesh as a snake. Look at that. Divine justice, eh? So, I guess the point here is essentially, we just got to be careful with what we do in this life. Who knows what we could be reborn as? Okay, so the Sidhs now say to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, okay, Maharaj, this, this pride you're talking about, how can we avoid it then? How can we avoid succumbing to this pride? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, you have to think of yourself as worthless. You have to think of yourself as really low. No one's below you, but everyone's above you. And you have to think of yourself as having no virtues. So, we say someone's very calm, they're very content, they always speak the truth. These virtues, you can't think of yourself to have them. Because once we think we have them, then we get puffed up. We succumb to our pride, right? So you've got to be very low, and you've got to accept that only the one has these virtues. So Maharaj went on to say, Nanak nirgun gun kare gunavanti agunde. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that those people that have no virtues, those nirgun, gun kare, meaning that even they can get blessed. And the people that are already blessed, those gunavanti are those people that have all these guns, that have this peace, they speak the truth, they have this contentment, even they can get more of these virtues. From who? From the one. Meaning that the one doesn't necessarily discriminate. They rain on everyone, just like the cloud rains on everyone without discrimination, just like the sun shines on everyone without discrimination. That one can bless anyone with these virtues. So they finish off this body by saying, Teha koi nasujei je this gun koi kare. So they say no one, essentially Maharaj is saying no one can give virtues to the one. So the Sidhs asked, okay, the one can give us virtues, but can we give virtues to the one? Can we bless the one with peace? Can we bless the one with love and contentment? No. And Nanak Dev Ji says no. Only that one can bless everyone else. So ultimately, our blessings come from Guruji. All we've got to do is follow what they're telling us. So when Guruji tell us to do seva, simran, sangat, like we're doing now, when they tell us to keep on top of our things like pride and anger, not to give in to these things, that maryada, that discipline, that way of life, becomes like the banks of a river. Right? So if we imagine ourselves as like a water drop in this river, and we're going along, and as we know, life flows up and down, left and right, good times, bad times, happy, sad. It flows just like a river, right? It's so random. But what keeps us on that river, what ensures that we're going to merge with the ocean in the end, are those riverbanks, is following our Guru. when they tell us to keep on top of things like pride, anger, to do seva, simran, sangat. So, but what happens is sometimes as that water drop, we might splash outside of that river. We might not listen to what our Guru is telling us to do, and we might fall out of that river. Bhai Singh Ji says that sometimes that drop of water will land on mud. It will land on soil, in which case it will dissolve. And they say just like that water drop dissolves in mud, that's how we can get dissolved in our own happiness, in our own pleasures. So we end up just chasing our happiness, always, always, always. What's going to make me happy? What's going to give me pleasure? When we keep doing that, we're not flowing towards the one. We've actually stopped. Then there's an alternative. Sometimes that water drop might land on a rock, in which case the sun, the heat of the sun, is so hot that the heat evaporates that water drop. And that burning sensation, that burning, is what we feel when we give into things like anger, when we give into things like lust, when we give into things like pride. People say, don't they, when they get angry, people say, I just saw red. I just felt this burning inside me. So Bhai Singh Ji says, that's like that water drop that lands on the rock. It gets burnt by all these things. So what do we do? What do we do when we find ourselves out of this river of our Guru? Essentially, all we got to do is just get back in, right? All we got to do is just get back. It's never too late. No matter how far we've come out, all we got to do is get back to following what our Guru's doing and take those little steps. So I'm going to finish off with a bit of some harsh advice, a bit of a warning from Bhagat Kabir Ji. And they say, Kabira, garab na kijiye, rank na hasiye koy. They say, don't give in to your pride and don't laugh at someone who's poor. Don't think someone's lower than you and point the finger and laugh at that person. Don't do that. They go on to say why. They say, Ajaho sunao samundra mein hai. Your boat is still in this samundra. Your boat is still out at sea. And they finish off by saying, Kya jano, kya hoy. Who knows what's going to happen to you yet? So we might be high and proud. We might be really happy. Everything's going swell. Everything's going great 1 minute. But as soon as we give into that pride, who knows what's going to happen to us? Who knows when we're going to be in a situation like I was? So essentially, just the last point to finish off is the higher we raise ourselves, in no matter what respect, the higher we raise ourselves, be it wealth, be it status, looks, or clothes, or whatever it is, what car you drive, it doesn't matter. The higher we raise ourselves, the harder and longer we're going to have to fall. And one day we will fall. So all we've got to do is be like that water. When we look at the nature of water, water's very humble. No matter where you put it, it always goes to the bottom. You pour water in a jug, it goes to the bottom. Pour water in a cup, you throw it in the air, comes straight back down. Always at the bottom. So it ties in with what Guru Nanak Dev Ji told us about being humble, always. So we've come to the end. We'll have a quick recap. So today we looked at Naam and Kirpa, how essentially life is worthless without these two things. We looked at the saints, how they value these things above anything else. Accountability, whatever we do in life, we're going to have to essentially pay for. So we have to live consciously. We looked at the virtues, how essentially when it comes to virtues, you know, sometimes we say like, oh, someone's a really calm person, someone's really content, this person always tells the truth. What happens is we forget that all of these virtues have come from the one. So it's actually kirpa, it's actually a blessing. Does that make sense? So when we see these good qualities in other people, we should actually just remember the one, because it's that one that's blessed that person in the first place. And then lastly, we looked at the way of water. Our water's always humble. Sometimes in this river of life, we might come out, be it the dirt or the rock, but there's always a way back. We've just got to follow what our Guru is telling us to do. And one of those things they tell us to do is join in with some Kirtan, which I think we're going to have now. So, guys, just to finish off, I just want to say a big thank you again to everyone for coming. And I'm sure I made so many mistakes in doing this vichar with you guys. So please forgive me if I said anything out of line or offensive. Please forgive me. And let's finish off with a fateh then. WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki fateh.
WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki fateh. WhyGuru, 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 Guru, WhyGuru, 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 Guru, WhyGuru, 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 Guru, WhyGuru, 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 Guru, WhyGuru, करो कृपा गोपाल गोविंद अपना नाम जपावो अपना नाम जपावो करो कृपा गोपाल गोविंद ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪੋ। ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ, ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ। ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ, ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ। ਕਾਢ ਲਿਏ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਨ ਬਿਖਤੀ, ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗ ਮਨ ਲਾਵੋ। ਕਾਢ ਲਿਏ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਆਨ ਬਿਖਤੀ, ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗ ਮਨ ਲਾਵੋ। ਭ੍ਰਮ ਭਉ ਮੋਹ ਦੇਹੋ, ਭ੍ਰਮ ਭਉ ਮੋਹ ਕਟਿਓ, ਗੁਰ ਬਚਨੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਦਰਸ ਦੇਖਾਵੋ। ਭ੍ਰਮ ਭਉ ਮੋਹ ਕਟਿਓ, ਗੁਰ ਬਚਨੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਦਰਸ ਦੇਖਾਵੋ। ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ, ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ। ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ, ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ। ਕਰੋ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਗੋਪਾਲ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ, ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੋ। ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੋ। ਸਭ ਕੀ ਰੇਨ ਹੋਏ ਮਨ ਮੇਰਾ, ਅਹੰ ਬੁੱਧ ਤਜਾਵੋ। ਸਭ ਕੀ ਰੇਨ ਹੋਏ ਮਨ ਮੇਰਾ, ਅਹੰ ਬੁੱਧ ਤਜਾਵੋ। ਆਪਣੀ ਭਗਤ ਦੇਹ ਦਿਆਲਾ ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ। ਆਪਣੀ ਭਗਤ ਦੇਹ ਦਿਆਲਾ ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ, ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ। ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ, ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ। ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ, ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ। ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ, ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ। ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ, ਵਡ ਭਾਗੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਵੋ। ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ, ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ। ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ, ਹਰ 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 ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵੋ। ਕਰੋ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਗੋਪਾਲ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ, ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੋ। ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੋ। ਕਰੋ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਗੋਪਾਲ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ, ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੋ। ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਵੋ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਧੰਨ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਧੰਨ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ